Mic check for the media. Mic check for the media. Test 1, 2. Mic check for the media. Check 1, 2. You good?
Paul. Our regional vice president, Marvin.
If everybody could find a seat, we'll go on and get started. Looks like that's the best I'm going to get done on that. Hello, my name is Jeff Reed. I will start speaking up. My name is Jeff Reed. I am Commissioner of General Services for the Lexington-Fayette Urban County Government. I'm going to be one of the folks that's helping moderate this event tonight. I'd like to first of all thank you all for coming and attending this meeting. I think it's a testament to the interest in this topic, this kind of turnout. Over the last several months, the mayor's office, his administration, council members have been discussing a variety of issues, concerns, and complaints with Spectrum representatives. Those interactions led to correspondence in June to Spectrum officials requesting this meeting. This is a public forum to directly hear from the customers that Spectrum serves. We are anxious to hear your thoughts, your observations, and your concerns. This meeting is a step that is outlined in our franchise agreement with Spectrum. This is an opportunity for all of us to gather information to evaluate whether Spectrum has adhered to the provisions laid out in the cable franchise. If you're not able to make this meeting and are watching on Lex TV, you may still participate by visiting our website at www.lexingtonky.gov/cable and fill out the survey. You can also call 311 or send an email to comments on cable, lexington@lexingtonky.gov. If you have any comments or concerns or wish to request a resolution from Spectrum. First of all, Mayor Gray is here tonight and would like to share his thoughts and appreciation to all of you for attending this performance evaluation, as well as to those who are watching at home. Mayor Gray.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much, and thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'll say welcome to everyone. And Jason and Martha, welcome Spectrum to the Lion's Den. All right? That was supposed to get a little bit of humor starting tonight. But I know, we all know that there's a lot of frustration in the room. And you all can shake your head on that and acknowledge that. There's a lot of frustration here. A lot of frustration. We have in the mayor's office gotten so many phone calls. Our council members, there are a number of council members here tonight, and I want to acknowledge them. I want to come back to them and acknowledge them one by one. But I will say this. How many of you remember a movie called Network in 1979? Yeah, hold your hand up. Remember Howard Beale? Remember when he said, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore"? Well, I've heard several people say just that, you all. Several people say just that. Now, Jeff said it well. In terms of tonight's process, this is what our contract calls for, a performance evaluation. So everyone here gets a chance for their airtime. And I know that everybody's already, or a lot of folks are filling out forms. The purpose of this is to hold Spectrum accountable. Now, that's not unusual. I come from the business world in a very, very competitive business. And frankly, that's not what we have here today. It's not a very competitive business. And that's one of the reasons that we have these challenges with customer service today. We have had very, very poor technical service. Very poor customer service. And price increases with no notice. No one should have to scrub their monthly bills for hidden fees. Now, I want to confess to y'all, Jason and Martha, I was watching television on the way out here, and I saw a Spectrum ad. How many of y'all seen that ad? I had a kitchen knife in my hand, and I almost took it to the television. Now, I know that sometimes you felt this way. Tammy Kelder, Tammy, hold your hand up. Tammy told me, she said, "Mayor, is there any way we can get some competition, especially on internet?" Well, Tammy, I want to tell you that we are working on that. We are working on bringing real competition to Lexington. Now, I want to recognize the council members that are here tonight. Vice Mayor Kay, council members Maloney and Lamb and Smith. Hold your hands up. Ploman and Evans and Councilmember Farmer, whose district we're in. And Joe Smith. Joe, I didn't see your name. Yep, I did call you. You all stand up, please. This shows everyone here, our council members are interested. Now, Jason and Martha, I do want to say, in full fairness, you know, that is very, very courageous of you all. You are incredibly competent people. You are employees of a company. It's your job to represent your company here, and for us to do that respectfully, everyone. Okay, now, I think I've said everything I intended to say. I want to thank you all again, everyone, for coming out tonight. I will turn things back over to our very competent Commissioner of General Services, Jeff Reed. Jeff, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'll try to dial back a little. Two people tonight that are primarily responsible for handling Spectrum complaints are with us tonight. First of all, from my office is Roger Damon, who many of you all have probably contacted and interacted with if you had a concern with Spectrum. The other is Jason Keller, who we have worked with for years, and you in various capacities, and most recently with Spectrum. It's nice to have you here. Also with us is Marva Johnson, who is the Regional Vice President for Spectrum. I want to go over a few general ground rules and talk about where we go from here and how we solicit your input and give you the opportunity to speak. First of all, Spectrum is requested to make a presentation, and we are going to allow that presentation. It will be for 7 minutes to start, and Spectrum wanted a total of 15 minutes. They'll be back more in the mid part of this presentation to take their final 7.5 minutes. After they're presented, we will open the meeting up to the audience for allowing people to speak. Each person will be allowed 2 minutes per speaker. We have people with microphones that are here and will be circulating. Raise your hand if you desire to speak, and we will bring the microphones around to you. When they bring the microphones to you, please state your name and address and be as concise as possible, because we want to get as many comments as possible, because the volume and the quality of the responses we get goes into the data collection that's important as we move forward. Our goal is to try to get as many people to be able to speak as possible, so be considerate of others who are waiting to speak. Also, I have to remind you that in order for everyone to have the opportunity to speak, this must be an orderly meeting. I know there's a lot of feelings and frustrations, but please don't clap or boo. You can clap for me, but other than that, don't clap or boo. Also, please conduct yourself in an orderly manner and be courteous. Before you leave, please be sure to fill out these survey forms. We have folks coming around picking them up. They, again, are a very important part, a piece of data that we need to collect. So with that in mind, we will be back up here. We'll have a timer up on the wall as we go so you can see where you're running. And we're going to pretty strictly enforce that 2 minutes. So we're not going to tackle anybody or yank something away from you, but we are going to try to limit these to 2 minutes. So with that, Jason, please come on up.
While Jason cues up our presentation, I'll go ahead and start. As was mentioned, I am Marva Johnson. I'm the Regional Vice President for State Government Affairs for Charter Communications. I did want to thank Mayor Gray for taking the time to put this meeting together, to thank the council members who not only showed interest in making sure that we were committed to servicing our customers and committed to our franchise obligations, and committed to giving you all this opportunity to share your thoughts on our service. Is this better? Great, thank you. And to thank also the Vice Mayor and Jeff for the opportunity to address you all this evening. As many of you know, just over a year ago, Charter brought 3 companies together with one goal, and that was to bring the best of the best to our customers into the markets that we serve. That goal is as important today as it was a year ago when we made that commitment. Right now, we have the privilege of providing service in over 26 million homes and businesses, and that includes providing service to over 700,000 people here in the state of Kentucky. As you know, Charter does not require annual contracts, and we provide our services in a highly competitive market, especially when you consider that wired services and wireless services are converging, and you have a lot of options in that regard. We strive every day to earn our customers' trust and our loyalty. This is why Charter is dedicated to pursuing a customer focused approach. We are committed to bringing high-quality products and services to the marketplace, and we're committed to making our investment not only throughout the nation, but also here in Kentucky. Because this is my first opportunity to address our customers here in the state of Kentucky, and specifically here in the city of Lexington, I thought it would be helpful if we spent a little bit of time reviewing who Charter is now that we've gotten over a year behind us post-transaction. I'll keep rolling just because I know your time is precious. Someone mentioned earlier that we'd started a few minutes late, so I don't want to lose much of your time, and I know that many of you have other things you'd like to do this evening. So we'll show the slides later, but I'll keep talking. We're the fastest growing video, internet, and voice service provider in the country. As I mentioned earlier, we are in 41 states today, post-merger. We're investing in ways that not only grow our network and our subscriber base, but we're investing in ways that are growing the economy. When Charter made its commitment to pull these three companies together, again, with the goal of bringing the best of the best in services, we committed at that time to bring 20,000 jobs from overseas back to the United States. So as we look to grow our business, as we look to improve the quality of our service and the technology within our network, that all of that growth and innovation is also helping to fuel our economy. In fact, we expect to have over 110,000 employees by the year 2020. Also, 13% of Charter's workforce is represented by military veterans, and over 40% of Charter's workforce is represented by a diverse population. That's something we're very proud of, and it's something that, again, the company, when it decided a year ago to bring together the three entities to bring the best of the best to our market, we wanted to maintain our focus on. Charter's invested over $21 billion in technology and infrastructure since 2014, and with a favorable regulatory climate, we expect that investment will grow to $25 billion over the next 4 years. Again, Charter's a hyper-local business. Our cable services are hyper-local, and we put plant in the ground. We employ people in the local communities where we serve. Charter is also building service out to 2 million new customers and expanding broadband and the reach of our service throughout the country. So I wanted to thank you all one more time for allowing us the opportunity to listen and for taking your time to come here to share with us your thoughts on how we can make sure that we're delivering on our commitment to be the best in the best and to deliver the services for you that you expect. We would love to talk with you about the efforts we're undergoing to create jobs, to expand access to broadband, to drive innovation, to put our customers first, investing in infrastructure, and to engage with you all in the community. Jason will now talk a little bit more about what we're doing specifically here in the city of Lexington.
Thanks, Marva. Can everybody hear me okay? Is that better? No? How's that? All right, sounds good. Again, thank you. Didn't have the opportunity. We've had a little bit of a technical issue with the computer up here, but wanted to thank you. As a lifelong Lexingtonian, it's great to be here and great to be with my fellow residents here in town. I love this city, and I know you do too, and we want to see the best for it. And that's one of the reasons why, as Marvin mentioned, that Charter Spectrum is focused on creating jobs here in Lexington and across the Commonwealth. Currently, we have more than 3,200 employees here in the state of Kentucky. With hundreds of them being here in Lexington. And these are folks who live, work right here in central Kentucky. They drive the trucks, they provide service, and they're working every day to make it happen, to make our service happen. And we're also currently hiring here in Lexington as well for a number of positions. Let me talk a little bit about expanding access to broadband. We've installed over the past year more than 800 Wi-Fi access points, so throughout downtown Lexington and throughout most of the major corridors, whether you're going to Woodland Park, out Nicholasville Road, and others. Wi-Fi access from our network is available to our customers to help extend service. So if you have a cell phone, you've got a contract on that, and you're getting data off that, this is going to help you not use as much data off your cell phone. That's a real added benefit. In addition to that, we're also planning to launch a wireless product next year to compete with other wireless companies that are out there today. Talk a little bit about what we do for economic development here in the city. We have the city's most extensive fiber network, and we're building more every single day. We provide multi-gigabit services to major universities here, local hospitals, government buildings. This building here has our fiber in it. We're working to expand that each and every day. Last year, we put enough fiber in the ground to run it around New Circle Road 1.5 times. We're also launched the Spectrum app, which is available to all of our customers, all of our video customers, which is a great value add for folks. It provides thousands of on-demand titles and allows you to watch television on the go from your iPad, on your phone, or many other devices as well. We'll talk a little bit about our customers and putting the customers first, because that is our key focus, as Marva mentioned. Starts with our people, and one of the things that has been launched over the last year is 1-hour appointment windows, which our technicians hit more than 98% of the time. That's a key focus for us. We know that that's a key focus for folks who may have an issue in their home. We're also working to put centralized customer care call centers. So if you call in with an internet issue, you're talking to somebody who handles internet issues all day. That's all they do. They don't have to worry about knowing something about video and internet and billing or any other issue like that. We want to make sure that they are experts in the field. That's why we've created centers of excellence in our call center. We're also moving all of the Time Warner Cable call center operation from offshore facilities back here to the United States. That is a process that's taking place over the next 2 years. And so far, in just the year that we have been charter since Time Warner Cable, we have cut the number of offshore call center contracts in half, and we're continuing to whittle those down every single day. Spectrum packages. This is an opportunity we think is a better value for customers. And when you look at the base internet speeds of 60 megabits, that's 4 times faster than the base internet speed that Time Warner Cable provided. Our most popular Spectrum video and internet packages are less, they cost less money than the non-promotional Time Warner Cable packages. And they, as part of that, and as a key to that, the Spectrum doesn't do modem fees, and the boxes themselves cost less than the old Time Warner Cable box. Let me talk a little bit about some announcements that we're making today as part of this, and some investments that are being made in the community. Spectrum Internet Assist. I'm not sure how many people are aware of this product. It's something that we rolled out and we fully launched here in Lexington. It's our high-speed internet product for low-income families and seniors. If you have a family with children on the National School Lunch Program or seniors who take SSI, we provide a 30 megabit, which is high speed. It meets and exceeds the FCC threshold for broadband, $14.99 a month. And that is the fastest fastest internet product provided by any internet provider that's dedicated to low-income families. We're very proud of this. We're working with a number of community partners here in Lexington to try to roll this out and make sure that the folks who need this and can use it know about it and or get signed up. We need to close the digital divide here in this country. We can't have children going home with some with internet, some without. We've got to make sure that people have access to the internet. Critical. And for folks here that are seniors as well, as you know, if you want to sign up for Medicare, you've got to do that online. You've got to go to Medicare.gov. So this is another avenue to do that. We're also going to be opening up our East Kentucky Regional Technical Operations Center. That's going to create 25 plus new jobs here in Lexington. It's a $1.9 million investment that we're making here in Lexington. That's what we think is going to help improve customer service as well. It's going to provide a centralized location for our technicians throughout Central Kentucky, not just here in Lexington, but throughout Central Kentucky and East Kentucky, a place to come and learn their craft and perfect their craft. We think this is going to be a huge investment. It's going to pay off tremendous dividends for our customers here, and in addition to bringing new jobs and tremendous investment to this community. We're also going to be opening up a Spectrum store as well. I've just got one more slide. Which is double the capacity of our current store at Palumbo Drive. I know we've heard from customers that it's too small, the lines are too long. This is what's going to help fix it. It's going to be double the capacity of workstations, longer hours on Saturday and Sunday to help better serve customers. We're adding personnel. We're adding several new jobs that are going to be at the store. It's going to open up at 2450 Nicholasville Road on September 25th. There are going to be interactive demos, product demos in store. This is a picture of what it's going to look like. It's a $700,000 investment. And who here likes standing in line at a store? No, I don't. That's why we're going to use a queuing system. It's going to allow you to not have to stand in line as well.
Thank you. I'm going to have to cut you off at this point. I needed to give you a little extra time to make sure it didn't look intentional that we sabotaged it at the front end, but you can come in the second half of your presentation, finish up your thoughts. We appreciate it. I'm now going to turn this over to Roger Damon to start with the public comments and conduct this part of the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner. I am Roger Damon. I'm the telecommunications liaison to the mayor's office, and some of you may have spoken to me on the phone or have emailed me. I think at least several that I spoke to earlier are in the crowd. Just give me a moment to set this up. All right, each speaker will be allowed 2 minutes, as was mentioned earlier. We will start out with the left side of my room, on that side of the room. So we have Jessica helping on that side of the room. So if you would like to speak, please raise your hand, and Jessica will bring you a mic. Is yours working? Sorry for the delay. While we're waiting, I do want to say that, like I said, I have spoken to many of you on the phone. I have received a lot of your complaints by email or by phone, and I've heard you, and I have tried to help many of you. And I want you to know that the government is very concerned about what has been happening to many of you, and that I have tried to help you through a lot of that, and that tonight is an important step in us trying to resolve the issues that you have with Spectrum. Also,
Check,
please
1, 2.
make sure that you fill out the surveys
Testing, 1, 2.
that were on your seat.
Ma'am?
Thank you for this opportunity. I have two things to say, and the first is when I contacted your company, because of a letter that said I needed a digital box, I was told I would not get one. But my real issue here is, do our taxes change monthly on our bills? Because they tend to go up just a little bit, and you don't pay attention until it gets to be higher and higher. So I think I need that from our government.
Check.
You can
Do
go
they
ahead.
change monthly? Not all of them, but some of them. And are all these taxes legitimate?
Thank you. You have one over here? Also, can I remind you to make sure that you say your name and your address before your comment? That one's not working. Jess, can you bring your mic over?
Test, test.
My name is Lindy Carnes. I'm with Blue and Company. And I'm here to say that our company has used Spectrum. I'm a director, tax director at the firm. We're an accounting firm. And we have used Spectrum for our backup on our system for the last 3 years. We have had no problems. And they recently increased our bandwidth for free. I wouldn't say that I'm as happy with my home consumer issues, but like all changes, I'm hoping that if they're that good on the business side, that they can come up on the consumer side and perform equally well. And would encourage them to do so.
Thank you.
Okay. Test. Christian? Pardon me.
Good evening, Christian Torp, 552 Elm Tree Lane. First thing I'd like to say is I was interviewed by Good Morning America about this issue, and they had me run Time Warner's own speed test. And they said, and I quote, I have third world internet speeds. It was less than 10. So this 60 stuff, no. My main issue, however, is for years I was getting billed an internet modem rental fee. It's my own modem. I've had it since it was in sight. I'd call up, try to get it fixed. Sometimes it would be removed from the bill only to reappear, and sometimes I would be told that it was not my modem. It was definitely my modem. This went on for years. I had to threaten a lawsuit and get in touch with the FCC and the Attorney General and everything else to have this finally resolved. This is ridiculous and this is fraudulent. I mean, you're not providing what you say and advertise you're providing. And then I've heard tremendous number of people say that they're being billed for their own equipment. This is theft, and this is just ridiculous.
Thank you, sir.
Test, test, test.
Yes, actually, you'd have. Sure. Yes, you may go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stanley Johnson. I live at 3563 Julianne Circle here in Lexington. You've referred a number, well, let me preface this first since I've got enough time. This is not all bad. A lot of the things Spectrum is doing are wonderful. They're good for the community. So I don't want to cast this in the light that everything that's going on with Spectrum is bad. However, you've referred a number of times to wanting to be the best of the best. Okay, in the fall of 2016, Consumer Reports, and I'm sure you're aware of this, Consumer Reports, which is a very reputable magazine that deals with the quality of products that we use as consumers, rated Spectrum in the bottom part of their ratings, and that was about 100,000 people that they rated. My question is, if you want to be the best of the best, what specifically is Spectrum doing to get themselves out of the bottom of the list? That's ridiculous.
As we get several similar comments, I will ask Spectrum to respond to those. That's how we can't have them respond to every single question, but we do appreciate your questions, and we are collecting all of your comments.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Patrick. I live at 102 Bradbury Lane. And I come here today because my position is I'm an interpreter and translator at my company. It's a major automotive company based in Japan. And I have to say that a lot of my Japanese colleagues are really shocked and disappointed in the customer service and all the hoops I have to jump through to get help from your company. I can tell you I've lived in Japan, and the customer service I've received would not stand there. I'll give you some examples. I actually had a call today. Now, I've called for several different members of our company in the last couple months, and today, your presentation, when you mentioned the Internet Assist, now, our people don't qualify for it, but I've never heard about it once in 8 months, and I've called about a lot of people. Now, the bigger problem I have is I honestly believe that your people are engaging in deceptive policies. So, for example, when I talk to your customer solutions team, they've never once been able to change anything. And then when I ask them, can I get a lower speed? They say, we offer 60. I say, you're not physically able to offer lower? They say, no, it's impossible. We can't do it. It's not physically possible with the lines. Now, we both know that's not true. You have Internet Assist, which works at 30 megabits. I'm on a 15 megabit per second connection at my home, so it is physically possible. Then we talk about policy. You're saying that the plans that don't allow for that. But again, you've just shown us Internet Assist. It allows for a different option. So in my particular case, there's 2 people at our house. We only want 15 megabit per second. We don't need 60. It is possible to offer different packages, but you've gotten rid of them. And you tell people it is impossible. That is dishonest. That is lying. So my question is, what are you going to do to improve your customer service, which you say is so important, and also to make sure you're telling the truth?
Please refrain from clapping. Thank you.
My name is Patsy McKinney. I live at 141 Penmoken. First of all, when I came in and saw all the police officers, I had to chuckle. You all must have thought all of us old people were going to riot. I have had missing channels, and by missing, I mean it'll come on the screen. We have detected an interruption in your service. On August the 4th, I sent the CEO, Tom Rutledge, a letter with 4 pages of all the dates and all the channels that this was occurring on. On August the 4th, I had 13 missing channels. On August the 5th, I had 17. I called for assistance, and I got someone in the Philippines. I could not understand what she was saying. Her supervisor got on the phone. I could not understand much of what she was saying. They offered to take $5 off of my bill. And I said, no, that's not acceptable. So on Saturday the 5th, I wrote a follow-up letter to Mr. Rutledge. They scheduled an appointment for a repairman on Tuesday. By the time Tuesday got here, all of those channels were back working. I have had those same channels every day this week, and before I left home today, they were off all morning, and before I left home at 4:45, they were all back on. I was contacted last week by someone from, what did he call it? Oh, corporate escalation, Alan McGear. And I told him I wanted $30 off my bill for the month of July and August that I have been without 13 channels, 17 channels, 10 channels. And he nearly had a stroke. Oh, no, we can't take that much off. So the repairman came again yesterday, and they were all working. So they cannot check the problem.
Right, I appreciate your comment. Actually, we are going to turn to Jason to ask for him to reply to some of these concerns that not only have we have received tonight, Jason, but also we have received several complaints both by email and over the phone regarding customer service issues. Similar to the complaint that was just given where people are not able to resolve their complaint. They're being told that it cannot be done, the rates cannot be brought down any lower. Could you please address those concerns to our audience? Poor Marva, thank you.
That's fine. I think one set or some of those questions can be grouped into a question that's focused on understanding what is Charter doing to better service customers. If I heard correctly, it sounded like some of you may have received responses from customer care that were, in your instance, are perhaps confusing and not clear or not deceptive is how you describe them. And in your instance, ma'am, you're getting service and responses, but the issue seems to be recurring. So it's not actually giving you a final resolution on your issues. So in response, you heard Jason earlier talk about some of the jobs that we're bringing here, not just to Kentucky, but back to the United States. So you mentioned earlier having, ma'am, spoken with someone in a call center in the Philippines. When we mentioned the 20,000 jobs, 3 people, including a manager, yes, that you actually experienced one of the things that we believe is going to help improve our quality of our customer care in the most effective way, or in the biggest way. Being able to own that customer experience from cradle to grave, from issue identification to resolution is important. And when we realized how sometimes the quality of care that our offshored service partners are giving to our customers may not be at the quality that we would hope we could manage them to if they were within our company here onshore, here in the U.S. The company made the commitment to improve its quality of its customer service by bringing those jobs here to the U.S. so that those customer service agents will be within our, better managed within our scope here of our call centers and service centers here in the U.S. Jason mentioned also earlier that one of the things that we're doing is aligning our call centers so that the reps within them have expertise in a particular product set. You mentioned, for example, sir, you talked about someone telling you that it was not possible to provision service at speeds less than 60 megabits, and that certainly, sir, is not accurate. Right, but we do sell certain products, so he certainly could have or should have represented to you that these are the products that we're offering in the marketplace. So having, again, all of our customer service agents, and here in the U.S., having centers that are designed to create excellence in a specific area or functional product support area for our call center reps, I think, again, will help ensure that when you're calling a call center agent, you're getting someone who's well-versed, well-trained, and very articulate in supporting whatever particular product or service issue you've raised to them. So those are, again, wish we could go as fast as I wish we could go back in time and make those service changes already. But you've heard some examples today, and I'm sure you'll continue to hear examples of things that we're doing to invest, to make those customer service commitments, and to improve the quality of our customer care every day. Again, that $1.9 million investment in that Tech Ops Center is part of. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Thank you. Thank you for raising that point. So, but
Actually,
did you want me to repeat anything, or are you okay? Okay. All right. Did you want me to repeat anything, or? Okay.
yeah, I think we
Okay. Thank you.
we probably need to go to another comment. Okay.
Misty Wright, 856 Kingsbury. I've lived at this address for almost, can you hear me? No? Okay. My name's Misty Wright. I live at 856 Kingsbury Road. I've lived at that address for almost 10 years and therefore have had 3 separate service providers at this address. When we had Insight, we had no issues at all. We moved to Time Warner, issues began. We moved to Spectrum, and it seems to be more consistent. Call the call center, get scripts only. The people are not trained. They can't give me any answers. They can't do anything. Supervisors aren't available. They'll have them call me back. I don't get callbacks. Finally get it to the point where a tech comes to my home. We're discussing what's going on in my home because all I have been told over and over again is that it's my router and my modem. No matter what router or modem we're using, it was always my router or my modem. We bought 3 routers. Still my router. It was not my router. Your tech arrived at my house and described this issue. They said, Miss Wright, you are at the end of a line for a junction box. Since Spectrum has taken over, instead of running multiple lines, they are actually over-processing the junction boxes in the variety of neighborhoods, such as yours, which are older and do not have new builds. So they are over-processing that, and no matter what you pay for or what process you get, you're never going to get it because you're at the end of the line from that junction box. And the biggest slap in the face is that no matter what we pay, no matter what we set up for auto pay, every single month, no purchases, no changes on our end, our bill's never consistent and always growing. We can't catch it. So we're paying for services that everybody on my street is apparently getting before I get. Can you address that oversplitting of junction issue that is apparently what's creating the majority of the issues most of us are having?
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. My name's Bill Wan. I live on Idle Hour Drive, and I think if you look through this crowd, you'll see a lot of retirees, right? A lot of people on fixed incomes. How many are here because of the bills that they pay to this company every month? Just raise your hand. I think that's the big issue with this whole crowd. That's why I'm here. In fact, I spoke to one of you gentlemen on the phone, and you were behind me 100%. I don't know who it was, but one of you said, I canceled Spectrum. I went to mount it on the wall, okay, an antenna. Was that you?
That was me, yes.
Yeah, see? So they know it's money. They know it's money, and the only way this company and Charter is going to do anything about it is if they get competition. You know, if they don't have any competition, it's a blank check. And I believe Bill Farmer's I live in this area, and Bill Farmer's been wonderful with us as far as hearing our grievances and everything. So I think we got to get to our local council people, push them a little bit, to get them out there, get us somebody that's going to do us a good service for the money we pay. How many people pay over $120 a month? You know what that is? That's almost $300,000 a year that this company collects from us. What are we getting for it? We're paying TV so we can watch advertisements. It's ridiculous. I'm old enough where I remember where TV was free.
I don't expect that anymore. But I do expect a good bang for our buck, and we're not getting it. I pay $181 a month to this company, okay? I like their internet access. I'm going to stick with it. But I'm going to be like you, man. I'm going to go buy an antenna.
Thank you, sir. Jason or Marva, would you like to address, since, I'm sorry, I promise I'll get back to the audience, but would you like to address the concern regarding these rate hikes for people on fixed incomes? Because we have gotten quite a few complaints regarding that. Did you want to say?
Yeah, and let's limit your all's reply to the question, if you care to reply, to the 2 minutes that the people here are getting to speak to. Thank you.
Go ahead. Did you need me to repeat the question?
Oh, no, I
Okay.
didn't hear the whole question, so Marvin filled me in.
Okay.
So I think what has been conveyed as far as the issues that has been received by the city that have come to us, the vast majority of which, I think over 80%, were some billing issue. And when we looked into that, one of the things I think we see over and over are that customers are rolling off of promotional packages that they received under Time Warner Cable. And those promotional packages have a limited time, and that once that limited time is up, then they are moving on from there to the Time Warner Cable price. The price, if you look at the non-promotional rates for both Spectrum and Time Warner Cable, and you match up the rate cards for both, you'll see that the most popular packages for Spectrum are less money than the old Time Warner Cable packages.
Jason, can I mention something regarding that? I would just like to state that the people that were getting these promotional packages were continually getting a new promotion. So therefore, that was the rate that they were paying. They were not paying the base rate. So when you're raising it to a base rate, it is quite a significant increase for them.
Right. But as Jason noted, even rolling off, they still have the option of rolling onto the new Spectrum pricing package, which, again, there's no modem fees, which under the old Time Warner Cable package, you would have paid a modem fee. So that in and of itself is a saving. It's an all-in pricing model. So some of the surcharges that would have accrued under your old Time Warner Cable package do not apply under the Spectrum pricing package. So, I mean, and if you're interested, I know that there are comment cards being collected.
Yes.
If you're interested, we could look at your specific account. We are giving access to. There's also some people here with Spectrum shirts on. If you'd like for us to take a look at your account specifically, there's Ben. There's Ben and Ellen. They have on black Spectrum charter shirts.
And there are
We're
a couple
happy to
more
take.
in the hallway in the back.
And we appreciate that response, but we probably need to get back to the audience for more comments.
Hello, my name is Doug Banwinkle. I live at 1550 Trent Boulevard at Brandywine Apartments. The Bradley Avenue or Bradley Street lady and the translator gentleman right here. My wife and I are both students, and I have an 11-year-old daughter that's a student. And we have the basic package, which is a $20 pack, or the 20 meg package that was, acquired when we were with Time Warner. And when we were with Time Warner, we had no problems, having that. It was everything that we needed. But when Spectrum took over, at the time when they took over, we actually moved to just a different apartment within the same apartment complex and began running into a lot of issues, the same issues where degradation of the line and things like that were going on. So I contacted the call center, and believe it or not, she was 100% great. Told me she saw everything I saw with packet degradation, the whole 9 yards. we had a technician come out, and the first thing out of his mouth once we started talking about everything was that I shouldn't listen to anything that the call center had to say. At which point he also told me that my problem that I had was because too many people in our house had cell phones and we had a computer, and that amount of bandwidth just couldn't handle anything that we had, which I didn't tell him at the time, but I'm a computer science student and I know better, okay? The thing about it is on top of that, I asked him what my options were because it's my modem that I own, and I wanted to know what he was going to recommend because he said he couldn't find anything wrong. Although when we did the speed test with him on my computer and everything like that, it showed packet drops, the whole 9 yards. And he told me that basically what had happened is that line that comes all the way to me is oversold. That there are people that have the 60 meg accounts, and since I have the 20 meg, or I think it's 20, I'm pretty sure it is, that basically we're fighting in a much larger pool, and because we have a smaller amount of bandwidth, we're not just going to get it. The other people that have the 60 megs, that are getting the 60 meg pools, they're going to get it before we do. And I'm paying for that. I'm paying for my 20 meg, and I'm still paying for it. And then he told me also that if we decided to move again, that it would not be honored, the Time Warner price would not be honored, and we would have to go to the 60 meg pool, which, I'm sorry, that's just unacceptable at this point.
Sir, I appreciate your comment. Your time is up. Thank you.
My name is Osborne, and I live at 2235 Stonewood, around the corner from Miss Wright, so I'm at the end of the line too. I do have a lot of skipping and sound, and it continues, so I made an appointment. I got an email confirming my appointment. I got a reminder email confirming my appointment. I was really impressed. This is a smooth process. That morning, I got another reminder that my appointment was that day. Great. I got a 5-minute warning that my technician was on the way. 1 hour later, I was really concerned that maybe he had an accident or was lost. I called with my concern. They didn't even have a ticket on me. They never heard of me. So I had to wait another week and a half for another appointment. So I don't know what Lexington they had the appointment scheduled, but someone's doorbell rang, but it wasn't mine.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Praveen Patel. I'm at 2049 Parasol Drive in Harold Hills. And aside from technical problems, such as you would be watching a show and voice goes away. And when you call, they say, well, turn off the switch, the little box, and turn it back on. The voice may come back, it may not. So those are the type of issues. Then you'll be watching and it'll get stuck on something, just keeps repeating, the picture fades away. So anyway, the other thing that's been going on is my bill was around $92 for phone, internet, and TV. Well, it went up a couple dollars here and there, so I didn't bother. Then it went up to like $100 and some loose change. Then all of a sudden, last 3 months, it's gone up to $133. As a person that's retired, how do you expect a person to pay almost 40% increase within a short time of period? Now, I've been on this cable system since the cable was installed. There was Telecable of Lexington. Never had issues. So I had a young lady call because I'd called this gentleman here, and somebody from your office called me. And they said, oh, you've got all this old equipment, so we've got to get you the new equipment, and we'll readjust your bill, and it'll drop about $10. I said, wait a minute. That's not acceptable. I mean, you know, I'm paying almost $40 of the same service, same thing, and I might drop everything and keep the internet. You've been advertising on TV $29.99 for internet, TV, and the phone. That's roughly $90. But when you ask them to give you that packet, they say, oh, you are not eligible. So you are falsely advertising something that somebody's not eligible because you're not taking disclaimers saying that this is only for new customers. So how do you address all that?
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Amy Kobus, and I'm the Executive Director at the Bluegrass Rape Crisis Center, and we operate a 24/7 crisis hotline, and we use your internet, and we've never had to use our backup internet, so we're very satisfied with the internet that's provided. We're able to answer all the crisis calls that come in for a person in time of their need. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Rebecca Abner, and I live at 3320 Downing Place. Ever since Spectrum came to town, I've had a problem. We have a computer that's dead. We use no internet, and they told me the modem was not bought by us. It was rented from either Inside, I don't know, it's been 10 years, almost 11 years. We've paid $8 a month on this modem when it was in our package. Now I'm told we can't take the internet off because our bill would go up almost double. I was told that on the phone. I was told that at Palumbo at the center. And so I'm looking at the bill, just came in the mail today. And it said our internet has went from $50. It says the packages are $53.99. I'll give you hand signals. To $54 to $53.99 to $54.99 per internet modem when bundled with video services. Well, on this bill right now, the internet's $58.89. So there's no rhyme or reason to how you all bill. I understood it when it was Inside. I understood it when it was Time Warner. And if we make any move at all, you're going to jack my price up. I've called about, they come to the door, they offer us pricing. You got $29.99? No, you can't get that because we've had this cable service forever. You're not entitled to it. That's for new customers. You all need to answer these questions. You need to get one answer and let us know what's going on because this is atrocious, what you're doing to us. And also, one more thing. You're giving people that are on SSI a discounted package. Okay, what about us that are on Social Security retirement? We deserve a break too. Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you all doing? I'm Daniel Whitley. I'm a defense attorney in town, so I will not be giving my address if you all don't mind. I, like many young families, we have a hard time looking at the budget, we look at the bill, and we always complain about some of the pricing. But then I go to the barbershop, and while you'll get a lot of people angry at you today, I want to say thank you all for your contribution to my uncle's barbershop. It's a nonprofit barbershop that helps get young African Americans employed and give them a good service and give them a trade so they can get in the community and do some good. We're fighting a lot of violence in our community. So while a lot of people are angry about the pricing, we're happy that you're contributing towards our organization because the more you all help, the more it assists us to get young people off the street, give them a trade so they will no longer be committing to violence. So there's some positive things that they do in our community. So I want to thank you all for brokering your partnership with us.
My name is Phyllis Wilson, and my address is 1733 Wyatt Parkway. And listening to all the complaints, mine should be simple because I'm just trying to get you out of my house. I'm trying to drop the internet and my phone. They say if I drop my internet, I'll have to keep paying the same thing because it's a bundle. And it's $125. So if I leave anyway, you won't give me my phone number. because that's yours and it belongs to you, which it doesn't, because I've had that phone since the 70s, and GTE actually owned it. You guys didn't. And then this one I wanted to ask for somebody else about picking up the boxes. If you cancel your service and you need to pick up your box, you have to bring it back. But they have a service where they have independent contractors that come out and pick it up, and they get $50 for every box that they return. And I get a receipt for them being taken back. But unless you know somebody that knows somebody, you don't know anything about that. So you kind of got to scrunch around to get things that, will help us as seniors. And it seems to me that you're putting a lot on the seniors because the millenniums, they're not doing this. They get the cell phones, they get antenna, they get a firebox or fire something, and they get rid of you guys. And they don't have to fool with this, because I was looking to do that too, and they were telling me how I could get by with it. And see, I was going to get another cell phone line, which is $25, put my home number on it, and then I'll say goodbye to you guys, but you won't let me because you won't give me my phone. And I've had it too long, too many people. So I asked you, what are you going to do with my number? And you're going to keep it a while, then you're going to give it to somebody else. Do you know how many calls you'll get since the 70s on that number? And it's just really frustrating for me, and I just want to get out some kind of way. I don't know how, but I just like to get out.
My name is Lonnie Burns, and I live on Belmont Drive. A lot of what I've been hearing is something that's been burning in my soul since Insight left. I had a reasonable amount that I could pay, but at that time I was able to work. Okay, I have since been retired disability, which more than cut me in half. And so TWC came up, and there was an increase, but I got a package deal. And every year they were kind enough to redo that package deal. Now I go turn over to Spectrum. Spectrum says, oh, that's a package deal. But that very same package that I got, because you were saying that your packages were cheaper. Well, I'm still on a TWC package deal that I called to find out about switching, and it was going to be much, much more. And right now, Spectrum has increased my bill twice while I'm still on the package. And I asked the same thing this lady does. Well, I don't really watch HBO, and I don't really do this and that. Those aren't selections that I would like. Well, that's fine. If you want to take them off, we will increase your bill. And that's very frustrating. And I know there's a lot of people that can afford to pay certain amounts. But the funny thing is, a lot of seniors cannot do that. They just cannot without giving up something else. But there are a lot of people that are seniors that are home and depend on that television for company. They depend on that internet to connect with families, not in this town, but other places. And they are being hurt by this amount. If you want to do something for a community, seek to serve seniors, seek to serve those who cannot make the money they were making because they are disabled or they are hurt. Seek them out, give them choice programming so you don't have to give them something they don't want. And besides, when we can watch the same channel, exact show on 3 different channels, we're not really getting 500 channels. We're getting 500 channels with the program repeating on each. Thank you.
Thank you.
Years ago, can you hear me?
Does it come through? 20 years ago, when I moved to Lexington, I made the decision to use a local internet provider, QX.net. Several years ago, Insight worked with QX to provide cable internet service to my house. I get 10 megabits per second. I called, I want to get an upgrade. I'm told Spectrum will not do that. They don't even allow QX to offer that service anymore. So not only is there little competition in this town, you guys are trying to eliminate any competition. And you sit here and tell us that you're trying to provide customer service and the best customer, we care about you. You're a big corporation. The only thing you care about is your shareholders and maximizing their profit.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Adam, and like that. Okay, I'm just a little concerned about the internet. The speed that you're all promising is always going slower and slower. And I called customer service, and basically they said they couldn't help me at all over the phone, but they had a technician come out, and the technician said, well, it looks like the wire is bad on the outside. And the other thing I had, but they fixed that, which was good in a timely manner. But the channels that you all, like the package you all offer, they disappear without notice. I mean, like for instance, like the BBC channel, it was there when Time Warner was there, but now it's gone in the blink of an eye. But you all resolved the internet to a certain degree, but we're still having issues with the internet. And on Windstream, for the same price I'm paying for your all 60 megs, they're offering 150 up and 150 down for life for 60 bucks a month. I just want to know what do you for the amount of money you all put for the technology and all that. How can you all ensure us that the internet is going to be almost close to what you all are saying instead of like 10 megs or 5 megs for the price of 60 megs?
Thank you.
I'll try not to repeat what's already been spoken. When I was with Time Warner Cable, I received the classic package, channels 2 through 74. Okay? I actually only used or surfaced 68 out of the 70-some channels. When Spectrum took it over, I was told I would receive the same service as I did with Time Warner Cable, and that the package that Spectrum had to order was Spectrum Select. I have 57 channels that I receive now. I don't receive 68 anymore, and my bill went from $118 to $154. I'd like for somebody to explain that to me. All right. The second thing I have is a current situation. As you know, with your telephone, your caller ID shows up on your TV screen. It's been working fine up until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. When people call me that I know, it says private, not available. I don't answer those phone calls, and it's my daughter calling. The response came today from your technician, and he told me, he says, we've had several issues lately. It's this, this, and this. I said, we've already gone through all that. Well, sir, I can't fix it. So now I'm going to ask you something. Since I have more service taken away from me, are you going to reduce my bill? Thank you so much.
All right. Jason, did you want to, Jason or Marva, did you want to respond to some of the current concerns that people have? You mentioned customer service, but some of the concerns that have been brought up are regarding technicians, which really has nothing to do with bringing customer service back into the U.S. That's local customer service. So would you like to address some of those concerns that have been mentioned by several speakers?
Can everyone hear okay? We talked a little earlier about, even in the U.S., making sure that we creating specialized centers so that we can improve the level of expertise for our customer service and tech ops people here in the U.S., as well as, again, bringing those jobs back. I hope that for each of you, as you've raised your issues, that you've also filled out the comment cards. We are planning to follow up because we would need to look specifically at your account to better understand and be able to give you an answer that's meaningful. We definitely want to follow up. We appreciate that you're owed an answer that makes sense and you're owed an answer that resolves your issues, and we're looking forward to responding and following up individually on your specific concern.
So once again, please do fill out the survey sheet, put any comments on the bottom or on the back, and get it back to one of our folks that will go around and pick them up. Thank you. Can we have another comment?
My name's Meredith Price. I live at 508 West 2nd Street. I moved downtown last December, and I met with Roger, I think, in probably February, because it took me 60 days to get service at my new apartment downtown. I spent close to 40 hours trying to get, technicians out there, talking on the phone, having to repeat my story to every single customer service representative that I spoke to. I ended up basically doing project management for Spectrum. I was waiting to get my income from them, but it didn't work out. But they, nobody ever knew what was going on. Nobody could get in touch with dispatch, and there seems to be a major disconnect with the customer service representatives. Every time, I've called, my friend Lauren had issues as well. It's, we can't talk to dispatch. We have no direct connection to dispatch. We can't speak to dispatch. Well, surely somebody can speak to dispatch, because they can't seem to get anybody out there. So anyway, the 60 days to get my service, that's a whole issue in and of itself. And as the guy with the translator was saying about 60 megabits, if I live by myself, I don't need 60 megabits. It's just way too much, paying $60 a month. And like most of you probably don't do, as they mentioned, I don't have cable. After my experience with the company, I definitely was not going to pursue cable. I encourage all of you to get an antenna and use the internet for your channels because it's awesome, and you'll save about half of your bill a month. But ideally, I don't like paying for things I don't use, and the 60 megabits is not what I need and what I assume many of these people need as well. So,
thank you.
Yes, right here. My name's William King. I just recently moved from one place to another place, and when I was told that my cable that I had with Time Warner would stay the same, that I can use my old boxes and everything, but as soon as I moved to my new house, they told me that none of that stuff would work, so my bill went from like $190 to almost $230, and I didn't understand why. And then when I called customer service for answers, they said because it's the new service, and I just didn't understand why I need to pay more for the same service. And for the gentleman right there, I just want to say that for you that's not really trying to pay attention to what the people are saying, is really disrespectful to the customers.
He's actually taking notes, just to make sure. I know we'll get these sheets back, but he's trying to make sure that we capture
what the lady was saying. Well, he didn't hear anything that the customer was saying, and you had to repeat it to him.
Right, because
that's disrespectful to us.
Taking notes.
It means that you're not paying attention to what we really have to say.
I can appreciate that, sir, but just know we are very committed to paying attention and making sure that we can follow up. We're collecting the cards, but we'd also like to collect thoughts so that we don't lose anything in translation. So we'll try to make sure we don't miss anything that you all offer us in terms of feedback.
Thank you. My name's Tammy Kelder, and I'm actually going to talk about my father and my daughter. My father's deceased, but he was 93, enjoyed UK basketball games, and wanted to keep his cable. But long story short, just like so many people, he had so many problems with his box and people coming out to the house that couldn't fix it. My brother took it in, got a new box. He was on the phone with people. He's an engineer. Couldn't fix it, or if there were blackouts. So we finally just put up an antenna so he could watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. And the only comic relief at his funeral was when someone said, you know, he was such a kind person. I never heard him say anything about anybody. And then he paused. He said, well, maybe Spectrum. But the other one is my daughter, who's a student at UK. And she moved from University Avenue to Limestone Square Apartments, just, you know, maybe a stone's throw away. And her bill went up for her internet. And when she asked and called the call center, they said, well, we don't offer that in your zip code. And she said, well, you know, it's not very far. I'm a UK student. I really need internet. And they said, well, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. And she said, well, what if I drop my phone? And she said, well, then it would go up because, you know, it's bundled. And she said, well, I don't really need my phone because I have a cell phone. But they were like, well, it would go up. And then later, she got a bill for the house she was in, and she tried to pay online, but they blocked her out because she had moved. And when she called to pay, they said, well, that'll be $10 for us to take your payment over the phone. So she went down to Spectrum thinking she'd save $10, but they charged her $10 anyway to pay her bill from the previous place. Customer service.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Betts. I live on Gladman Way. My trouble started with Time Warner when I bought a package, and the fourth month they upped my modem fee, and I didn't know because I had it on direct pay. So they kept adding on my account every month late fees, and they never would take them off. And so I finally was so fed up with them. You know, I went to the office here, and the woman was so rude that I just canceled it all. And I could not get the cables, you know, apart because they were too tight for me, so that the only option I was given was to have somebody come out. Well, they didn't even take it from the cable. They took it from the back of the device and left all the cables. I could have done that if somebody would have told me just, you don't need to bring the cables in. But what happened is, this technician, which kind of tonight I'm hearing is an independent contractor or somebody, they stole my router. The modem that I had in my home that I was paying for had a router in it. So the router that I own was down right by their modem, so they stole it. And we went back and forth and back that it was my router, but it didn't matter. I went to the office here in Lexington, made a claim. They did nothing. I did another claim online. They've done nothing. This has been since January. And then I went to ask, you know, I needed service for internet, and they said, you know, go get them, you know, go to the office and pick up equipment. So I did. And I get to the office, and they told me that someone will call you tomorrow because you still owe something on your old bill. I'm not going to pay that old bill because it's late fees that are their problem. And then where is my router? And who's going to pay me for my router? That's what I want to know.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? Are we good? My name is Lauren Troiani, and I, like you, I'm not going to give my address because that just doesn't seem safe to me, but I know you are taking notes up there, so I wanted to read to you my reference number so that you can look this up. It's 670-118-334. And I agree with the lady that spoke about appointment times. I'm really intrigued by this, where it says appointment window should be either a specific time or a maximum of a 4-hour block. If you do look up the reference number, you'll see that there were 17 days where no one showed up to my house, and when I called about it, they said it was actually an all-day appointment, and someone would be out by midnight. The only reason I was ever able to get something in writing was by tweeting you. Here was my response. It says, "It has been scheduled as an all-day appointment for tomorrow," and your note says 1 hour, but May 19th, June 9th, June 10th, June 11th, and then several other days, all-day appointments, and still nobody has come to my house. So if you could help me with that, I would appreciate it. But I will stay and personally help you sign up for Sling TV or PlayStation View if you would like to cut the cord.
Can y'all hear me? My name is Jeff Morgan. I live at 315 Avocado Street. Unlike most of these people in here, I don't personally have a complaint with y'all. Y'all do a great job. Who I have a complaint is why don't, instead of having everybody channel surfing all the time, why doesn't Harold Leader have a TV guide and charge us a few dollars each week? That way you can look in the guide and go directly to the channel. Thank you.
Hi, y'all. My name is Stella Kidd. I live on Lakeland Drive. And we have 2 Spectrum bills. One of them's almost $200 a month. In our home, we have 2 cable boxes via Time Warner Cable. And 3.5 years ago, my mother-in-law had a stroke, moved in with us. We bought her own little TV, understanding with the stroke, you don't process things normally. We got her a very simple control, hand control, where she could turn it on and off, do her channels up and down. She was quite content. Spectrum came to town. They scrambled her TV. Time Warner Cable had given it to her. We pay for the other 2. Took us a day to figure out. I wound up at the office with a dingo who said, well, a box is free, but you pay $4 a month. I still have a hard time processing that, and I didn't have a stroke. We've got the guy to come in, and he assured us that he would give her very simple control, hand controls. Her hand control is more complicated than my computer. She has 32 buttons to play with to try to figure out how to turn it on, how to turn it off. I've spent 2 weeks educating her that the on and off doesn't make the table come on. So she's got that. Now she can't figure out how to change the channel. So she's stuck on Fox, whether she likes it or not. That's not your fault. My dilemma is, why would you take away from an 85-year-old stroke victim a TV that she cannot control? I'll pay for it, that's my choice, but shame on you all for victimizing a stroke patient.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dennis Cheney. I live on Hambrick Avenue in Lexington. So I had an experience. There's probably 3 complaints. I'll try to squeeze it in here. I lived in Kenwick and moved to my place in Hambrick. I was very excited when Time Warner announced that they were boosting the speed. I had the Ultimate package. I work from home. I work at a software company, and the issue that happened was they boosted the speed to 300 megabits. That's great, much faster. I have roommates. Everyone could stream. The problem was when Spectrum took over, they took that speed and said, oh, well, instead of paying $85 a month, you're now going to pay $110 a month. I was out of the promotional period, so I don't understand. I was already paying the standard rate for Ultimate, and I call them, they say, oh, we can drop it to $105. And, you know, this is still very expensive. And I, you know, was looking for new places. I moved. I said, hey, I'm moving services. I'd like to move, you know, it's half a mile away. They said, I'm sorry, if you move, you can't have your legacy plan. You're going to have to drop down to 60 megabits, and since you're an existing customer, that's going to be $64 a month. That was very frustrating to hear. So I canceled my service, had my girlfriend open up the account for $40. The second issue, my girlfriend's mom has been Time Warner customer since 2012. They were charging her a modem or Wi-Fi rental of the router fee for almost 4 years. She owns her router. They stole $400-something from her over the period. When I caught it, they canceled the fee, but they would only return 3 months. So she got a $30, $24 account. That's just, you know, crappy customer service.
I'm Randy Boyer. I live on 2046 Clays Mill Road. You know, I was going to thank you guys for having this opportunity for us, but I think I'm not going to do that now because the more I hear, the more miserable I feel. Okay, you guys, my whole point for being here is about customer service. I call up on the phone and they don't want to listen to me. They want to sell me something. They don't care what I want. They just want to sell me something. They don't ask what my problems are. I've got TWC. I want to switch over to Spectrum. Well, no, not really. But then some of my service goes away now that I've inquired. Anyway, I'm on Spectrum now. I'm not happy. I've got a box that doesn't work. They tell me they can't make it work. I haven't resolved it yet. I need to get a technician out. So basically what it amounts to is you guys do not listen. Sitting up there, you don't listen. On the other end of the phone, you don't listen. Basically speaking, you guys don't listen. You can think you do, but you really don't.
My name is Sharon Wells. I live on Strader Drive. My complaint is also customer service for lack of technicians coming out, looking at my equipment and say, no, I think it's out on the line. It took me about 5 times for them finally to figure out what my internet connection problem was, and it still goes off and on. The other, like so many of you others, are retired on disability. My bill continues to go up. When you call, nobody listens. It's just a matter that you drop channels, you don't adjust the price. Well, you're working on a Time Warner. Well, are we Time Warner or are we Spectrum? And then if we go to Spectrum, then we have to pay more for less. I've gone through that also. So do we have a Time Warner person that we could talk to? No. So we're Spectrum, but we're blaming everything back here on Time Warner.
My name is Rose. I live on Blackburn Avenue. And this all began for me in January when I attempted to pay my bill online and found that I could not make the payment. I hadn't received a bill that month, so I was just guessing that this is approximately when my bill tends to be due. I called, and she said it had been mailed in. I said, well, I never received it, etc. And then I said, what exactly do I owe since I can't get the interface to work? And I said, oh, my package must have expired. And she said, well, we can do you another one, and it'll be the same, this and that and this and that and that. And we'll raise your speed from 50 to 60. And I said, my speed's already 100. And she said, no, it's not. And I said, I beg to differ. It is. And this went back and forth a few times. And finally she said, oh, you're right, I was wrong. And then she said, here's your package, and I'm going to switch you now. And then she said, oh, I can't. I think you need a modem. And when I called about 5 days later to see where the modem was, the guy said, and I said, I did a speed test and my speed is dropped. And he said, well, we already did the switch for you and your speed is 60. And I said, that's not the deal. And he said, well, that's all we have. We have 60 and we have 300. And I said, And he said, there was a legacy TWC, and I said, well, then that's what I am, and switch me back to my 100, and we'll leave it at that. Sorry, we can't do that now. Now you're Spectrum. And I said, well, nobody ever told me that if I did this and someone either lied to me or was too ill-informed or possibly stupid to give me the correct information, that I would then be trapped in Spectrum hell. I won't even tell you what a friend of a friend of a friend calls it. It's too vulgar, but he has a lot of laughs apparently, and it's infuriating. That's it.
Hi, my name is Ernie Anarella, and I have many of the same problems that other people have. I get intermittent cable and internet service. Over the course of a day, internet service goes up and then it goes down. By evening, while my wife and I are watching TV, she'll notice every now and then I'll take my cell phone, I'll put it up in the air, and she says, you don't need to do that if you want to go to the bathroom. And I say, I'm just trying to catch my internet service, you know? And I'm only 10 feet from where the modem is, so there's no real issue there that should be. And yet it goes down. I'm also disturbed by the lack of packages. That is, it seems to me, is an issue for local government. Back when we had Insight, we had packages, and people who wanted to have a minimal package were able to get it. And I bet that there are a lot of people here who feel that way and would jump at that particular opportunity. But the market that we are operating under, basically a monopoly, says we can't do that. I want to say, I was aware of the tarnished image of Charter Spectrum across the entire country. You just have to go to the internet when you can, and what you find is many complaints by these folks. So we were warned, and yet hope springs eternal. Basically, what bothers me a great deal is that while there is some care shown by some of the service people, there's basically apparent indifference on the part of administration to customer concerns. I think we're living really in a parallel universe here. That other universe is right there. They're talking about the best of the best and putting customer service first, and we're sitting here and we've got a load of complaints. I think what Spectrum is doing is little more than trying to cool off the mark here this evening. And we have to put pressure on our local officials to get us a better deal.
Yeah, my name is Mark Clark. I live at 321 Blackburn Avenue. I just want to sort of sum up what I hear many people talking about. So what we have here is a lack of flexibility in terms of packages, a lack of clarity with billing, a lack of consistency in service, and in other words, we pay more for a whole lot less. And part I'd like to address those who are representing local government, and that is, how did you allow this to happen? And B, perhaps we really should move to, since this really is a utility, not really just something that serves us. We pay bills with this. We have to, we have in many cases, no other recourse but to pay bills online. Then this should be much more highly regulated than it is. And if not, if we can't regulate it more because of FCC rules, then perhaps we need to go to a publicly held cable company, the way Frankfurt does, and Frankfurt pays half of what we have to pay for, and they have better service.
My name's Andrew Cole. I live in the Lansdowne area on Reading Road. Well, this isn't my first time with the internet cable providers in the greater Lexington area as they're changing names. The profound lack of ability to provide comparable service in this last change is the newest thing. My concern with Spectrum or Charter respectively has been the decimated rate of internet speed provided without offer of reasonable compensation to my bill. My internet bill has increased $10, my service has been decreased by a factor of 10. Where it was just under 300 megabytes a second, it's now less than 20. I don't use my internet for anything much outside of Game of Thrones or playing Call of Duty. But since Spectrum has taken the reins of being my internet provider, it's a taxing effort just to keep it online. It buffers and lags because the bandwidth isn't there. This didn't happen until Spectrum appeared. Unlike many here, I can afford a greater package. But it's just not offered. Unlike your predecessors, it's like, I will pay a premium to get that higher speed, but you don't offer it. I will pay more to watch dragons and kill digital Nazis, but I can't get it. My internet speed drops off frequently in indeterminate amounts of time, for instance, and to my knowledge, there's never been a profound change of the infrastructure in the greater Lexington area that would hinder that. The underlying theme here is the expectation of service and the need for alternatives. The residents of Fayette County, at least in the greater metropolitan area, have an expectation of what types of high-speed internet should be made available, and if those minimums cannot be met, concessions and motions need to be made for vendors that are capable of meeting or exceeding those expectations to be given consideration so that those services can be offered to consumers. I don't doubt Spectrum's intentions to provide quality service, but also of Spectrum's ability to provide high-speed services hindered by Lexington's infrastructure. It's something we should look into in future meetings. The high-tech advancements of Google Fiber would be considered to help bridge the gap. It should also be noted, to keep things in perspective, the internet is not a right and it is a service, but keeping in the tradition of a competitive market, that service should be offered by as many vendors as possible so that monopolies do not appear and that services are offered at the highest quality for the greatest amount of value. Thank you.
Let me jump in here for a minute. Let's take a couple of more statements. Allow Spectrum 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes to conclude. And then I would like to wrap up and have a couple of housekeeping comments. We'll be staying around afterwards if anybody wants to chat with us. And I know that Spectrum is interested in getting the material and the comments that have been made here tonight, as we are, and we will be back in touch. But let's conclude that way and wrap this up and stay.
This is a question to the city, the government, that is, we're sitting here, the government of the city of Lexington has called us here to give our views on our cable service. But my question is, what can the city do about it? My understanding, the city has very little control over cable television. It is not really regulated by the city. So I'm interested in what the city can do. If Spectrum is not providing the service, is it just tough luck? The city has no control over that. Or what are the steps that the city could take, if necessary, if Spectrum does not provide the level of service that the citizens of this community need and demand?
Well, I'm kind of sorry I got up. I think it's a very good question. It's a very fair question. It's a question that we have been wrestling with for some time. And the council is engaged and very interested in this, as is the mayor. You're right, we are limited. We're limited legally through FCC regulations. But there are steps to take. This is first step in several steps that can be taken that lead to potential. And let me preface it by saying we're very hopeful that things will improve, and we want them to improve, and we believe that the folks that we deal on the local level with Spectrum are anxious for them to improve. If they don't improve, there are steps that can be taken. And speaking in general terms, there can be, the council can take action to fine, the council can take action to revoke the agreement that we have with Spectrum. Obviously, there are problems to be confronted if you go down those roads, and there's options. The mayor, I think, was clear that competition is the key to improvement and is probably the least painful way to the consumer for the situation to improve. Not only does it provide an alternative, but it also, in many cases, prompts who's here already to improve the service. So the mayor and the administration, working with the council, is actively involved in looking at options that will create a more competitive environment. I think you're going to have to judge us over the next few months. We've got people here, commissioners, council members, council staff, who as individuals have had complaints with Spectrum. The number of complaints that we've had have been greater than any number of complaints we've had on previous cable providers or other public utilities that we deal with. So we're very concerned, and we're exploring these avenues. They're uncharted water, but we intend to go there. I do appreciate you not booing. We kind of got away on the clapping. Okay, thank you.
Hold on, we've got one over there.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I live out on Lost Trail Lane. And ever since I moved to Lexington about 2 months ago, all we've seen with Spectrum is problems over the tech support, over the phone, or the service we were serving. The service we're supposed to be getting, we're not, and I've called, and they've told us that they could repackage our deal, but it would be over double the price of what we're paying already, which we already pay, I think, $104 a month for our service. And they said it would be almost $240 for us to get what they advertised and told us what we were supposed to get. And when we called, they told us we were switching over from DirecTV. They told us that we were going to get more or the same amount of channels or more over TV, and we get nowhere near the same channels. We get maybe 2 or 3 of the same channels. All the other channels that we were supposed to get, that we were told that we were supposed to get, we don't get. And I have called about it. They told us that, oh, well, we could add, I think it was 3 channel packages, be $24 extra a month. I have only been here for 2 months in Lexington. I moved here from Ohio, where my mother had Spectrum and Time Warner Cable there, and all she's had is problems. We had Spectrum there for a while, and they told my mother the same stuff, that she would get the same amount of channels or more switching to Spectrum, and that they would buy out her contract through DirecTV. And we got Spectrum and got nowhere near the same channels. We get pixelized channels all the time, and I hope that the city is going to do something about this. Hope that everybody can take steps to get this figured out. And I honestly to this gentleman that was up in the front there, talked about Google Fiber or Optics out of Cincinnati would be a great service to have here in Lexington, especially with the college here. I know there's a lot of college kids that like to game and have high-speed internet. I like to have high-speed internet myself. Sorry, I'm taking.
Thank you for your complaint. Appreciate it. We're going to take one more complaint from each side. So please, if there's someone that has a complaint that we have not heard that type of complaint, please issue that. Let one of our folks know. Can you find someone?
My name's Lana McMillian. I'm a Lexingtonian. I declined to give my address. In May 2017, you closed your call center and laid off 56 of our residents. Thank you.
Howdy, my name's Red. I live over on Oatlands Park out Todd's Road. My comment is a two-pronged, sorry, speaker's in the way. From the business side, I'm the director of an arts nonprofit downtown. We called because we upgraded our equipment. We're able to use higher business internet. I called in, we had a lower price, so my experience echoes what the tax accountant up here had said earlier. But then the internet didn't move for a day or 2 days, a week. I called in, oh, we're sorry, we didn't quite flip the switch in the right place. Oh, okay, it'll be fixed later today. Sure. A day, 2 days, a week. It took multiple phone calls for them to actually change the plan that should have been resolved within one phone call. Now, to their credit, the tech people I talked to were really nice and really knowledgeable. They just didn't get anything done for multiple attempts. In the personal side, again, whenever I've called tech support, because I am the guy who's up at 1 or 2 a.m. gaming at my house, when I call tech support, they're knowledgeable and really friendly. So the tech support people you have are really neat. I can't speak to customer service. But I'm getting like 2 or 3 mailings a week, really pushing me to get this triple play service you guys have, where $29.99 for each, the TV, the phone, and the internet. And honestly, my partner and I want to hop on because we want to have access to channels we like to watch, but about once every 3 or 4 months, I'll bite. I will call in and say, hey, we're paying about $60 now for our basic internet. Going up to $90 seems reasonable. Here's the channels we want to watch. And they're not HBO, they're just other non-standard things like TBS or Cartoon Network for my kids. I call in, and every single time I've called, I immediately get, oh, those aren't part of the 125 channels we offer for the triple play. You need to pay an extra $50 if you want to upgrade. And I'm like, how are you going to send me 2 to 3 mail-ins a week that say 125 channels for $30 as part of the bundle, which we want. We would like the landline. But the moment I call and I ask for what are not exotic programming, I'm getting told pay an extra $50 above the price you're seeing in the mail 2 to 3 times a week. It doesn't jive. It just doesn't align.
For him to come to this meeting, and why did Spectrum pay the city $20,000 to move their government channel from 3 to 158?
You're asking why we paid that amount to have it moved? The reason, under my understanding, is that was not our choice to have that move, that Spectrum is moving those channels to that group of channels. And so in order for us to rebrand and do everything that we need to do to let people know that we are no longer GTV3 on Channel 3, we needed that amount of money in order to let the public know that we are now on 185, and we want to make sure that the public is aware of where our broadcasting is for all of our council meetings, meetings such as this. It's very important to us as a government that everyone know where we're located. I hope that answers that question. They paid us $20,000 to rebrand. The pens that you see out there, everything that we are doing to let people know that we are now Lex TV on channel 185, and we've spent many years being on channel 3, but that was not our choice to switch to channel 3. Jason, did you or Marva want to finish up the previous presentation?
I think we've heard a lot of input, and as much as we looked busy up here, I hope that it was appreciated that we were busy trying to make sure that we were capturing your concerns. Please, if you haven't filled out a comment card, please know that we are very interested in having an opportunity to follow up with each of you individually. We understand and appreciate that we've got to earn your trust. We've got to earn your loyalty. And we've heard other options today. We know that you could get service from DirecTV. We know that you could use Sling. We know that you could use an antenna. We want to earn your service, and we want to earn your trust. So please fill out comment cards. We look forward to having an opportunity to follow up on any individual concerns we didn't get to hear today, and mostly to resolve them. So thank you for your time. I know it wasn't an easy ask to have you come all the way over here, to leave your dinner tables, to leave your families, and your other obligations this evening. So thank you.
I'll get to you all afterwards. I'll come chat with you. Let me finish up by thanking everyone for being here. I think I probably summed up prematurely, but to just quickly close, we've seen several major categories of concern dealing with customer service, plans that are hard to understand and comprehend. Bundling seems to be a real issue, and how that's handled and how you can comprehend. And again, customer service, how people are treated, how they respond to your concerns and complaints seem to be an overarching issue that we need to see real improvement as we move forward. The city government wants it. I think Spectrum wants it. And I think we have to gauge things over the next couple of months to move forward, see what additional steps are to be taken. We're anxious to continue working with Spectrum to garner that improvement that we all want. Again, thanks Spectrum for being here. They've were willing to come, and thank you again for your time. We'll be here to talk and chat with you about anything you care to chat about. Thanks again.